Hello everyone, and welcome to my Sister Wives For You channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. In a stunning and heartbreaking twist that has sent shockwaves through the Sister Wives fandom, the emotional storm around Coyote Pass reached a breaking point when Kody Brown delivered an unexpected and devastating announcement that left Robyn in tears, shaking the very foundation of what remains of their drastically reduced plural family, as insiders reveal that the news wasn't merely surprising, it was catastrophic, blindsiding even those closest to the Brown household, and igniting new tensions that had been simmering beneath the surface for years, because while fans have watched Kody cling to the dream of building a united family compound on the vast, dusty stretch of Coyote Pass, the reality behind the scenes appears more fractured than ever, and Robyn, long described as the last wife standing, was reportedly gutted as Kody revealed that he could no longer hold onto the vision he once promised her. A vision she sacrificed so much for, a vision that now hangs in limbo as Kody confessed that the financial strain, the legal complications with the land, and the growing resentment from the ex-wives have forced him to make a decision he never thought he'd face. He is considering selling off major portions of Coyote Pass, or possibly even scrapping the entire plan to build there altogether, and the moment those words left his mouth, Robyn's face reportedly crumpled with disbelief and grief. Because Coyote Pass wasn't just a property to her, it was the last tangible symbol of the plural family they once were, the anchor she clung to after watching Christine, Janelle, and Mary walk away one by one, leaving her to shoulder the emotional weight of a marriage that no longer resembled anything close to the dream she was promised. And as she cried, pleading with Kody to reconsider, begging him not to give up on the land they spent years fighting over and dreaming about, Kody sat silent, defeated, staring at the table as though the burden had finally broken him. Because according to sources, the financial situation has become far more dire than viewers ever realized, with property taxes, construction delays, and leftover debt from their moves piling up to a point where even Kody, who has always portrayed himself as the confident, resourceful patriarch, can no longer pretend everything is under control. And the cracks in his once unshakable confidence grew painfully visible as he admitted that the dream of building 4 homes, one for each wife, has long ceased to make sense now that 3 of the women have left him, but Robyn, who has stood fiercely by his side through every betrayal, scandal, and emotional meltdown, was blindsided because she assumed Kody would at least build 1 home for the 2 of them as a symbol of their commitment, stability, and future. Yet now she finds herself staring down the possibility of having nothing but a dusty piece of land that the family poured years of hopes and arguments into. And what makes this moment even more heartbreaking is that Robyn truly believed Coyote Pass was her children's legacy, the place the family would gather decades from now, a spot she envisioned as the emotional heart of the Browns' next chapter. But with Kody's announcement, that dream is teetering on the edge of extinction, and while viewers have long accused Robyn of being the reason the family fell apart, the raw vulnerability she displayed after hearing Kody's news has sparked a wave of sympathy across social media, with fans acknowledging that for all her flaws, for all the controversies surrounding her, she is now living in the rubble of the dream she bought into, the dream she defended, the dream she insisted Kody not abandon even as the other wives walked away. And now she feels betrayed, not only by the ex-wives who left but by Kody himself, who once told her they were building something special together, something permanent, something worth fighting for, yet now seems ready to discard that dream just as quickly as it became inconvenient. And sources close to the family say that Robyn's tears didn't come from the property alone. They came from the shattering realization that if Kody is giving up on Coyote Pass, he may also be giving up on the last piece of the plural marriage identity that she tied her life to, because without the shared land, without the unified vision, what do they really have left but a marriage weighed down by financial strain, emotional exhaustion, and the ghosts of relationships that used to define their entire world. And as fans speculate on whether this moment marks the beginning of the end for Kody and Robyn's marriage, insiders claim that the couple has been arguing for months behind closed doors, with Robyn growing increasingly frustrated that Kody spends more time mourning the loss of his other marriages than investing in the one he still has. While Kody reportedly feels suffocated by the role of being the emotional sponge for Robyn's constant worry, guilt, and fear of abandonment. And when Kody finally broke the news about Coyote Pass, the emotional explosion was years in the making, because this wasn't just about land. It was about promises, expectations, guilt, resentment, and the slow unraveling of a marriage built on a foundation that no longer exists. And witnesses say that as Robyn wept, she told Kody that selling the land would make her feel like everything she sacrificed was for nothing, a comment that hit him hard, as he reportedly stormed out, overwhelmed, leaving her sobbing at the table. And while he cooled off outside, pacing and muttering to himself, Robyn struggled to breathe through her tears, wondering how everything had unraveled so fast, how she went from being the cherished wife with a secure future to a woman terrified that the ground beneath her, literally and metaphorically, is being ripped away. And as the emotional fallout spreads, fans are already speculating on whether this storyline will dominate the next season, with many predicting that Coyote Pass will become the final battleground not only between Kody and Robyn but between the past and the future of the entire Brown legacy. Because if Kody truly moves forward with selling or downsizing the property, he is effectively erasing the last piece of the dream that once held his family together. And the public meltdown may foreshadow the last major collapse of the sister wives' empire as viewers have known it. And this heartbreaking moment, Robyn crying uncontrollably as the man she gave everything to drops the bombshell she never expected, might go down as one of the most emotionally charged and defining turning points in the show's entire history. As the emotional dust continued to swirl around the Browns, what happened after Kody dropped the unexpected Coyote Pass news only grew more explosive, because instead of retreating into silence the way she normally does when overwhelmed, Robyn reportedly spiraled into a raw, unfiltered breakdown that exposed just how deeply she had tied her identity, her sacrifices, and her future to the one fragile dream Kody just shattered. And insiders reveal that her tears did not stop after Kody stormed out. If anything, they intensified as she replayed every promise he ever made about building a safe, united home on Coyote Pass, the home she believed her children deserved, the home she believed would justify the years of emotional turmoil she endured from the other wives who never fully accepted her. And as she cried, shaking and whispering through sobs that this wasn't supposed to happen, the weight of everything she had carried for years seemed to collapse at once, because from the moment she joined the family, Robyn had been pressured, criticized, accused, and blamed for every shift in the Brown dynamic. Yet she held on to the belief that if she followed Kody's vision faithfully, if she supported him, reassured him, and stood by him even when the others wouldn't, he would eventually give her the stability and security she longed for. And Coyote Pass was supposed to be that reward, the final proof that their sacrifices would lead somewhere meaningful, a symbol of permanence in a life defined by chaos. But now, hearing Kody openly admit he might give up on the land felt like watching the last decade of her life crumble into dust. And as she cried into her hands, she wasn't just mourning the loss of a piece of property, she was mourning the loss of certainty, of direction, and of every future memory she imagined making on that land, from watching her children grow up there to hosting family gatherings that, in her mind, would one day include Christine's kids, Janelle's kids, and even Mary's. Because in Robyn's most vulnerable dreams, she still hoped the family might heal someday, but without a central gathering place like Coyote Pass, even that distant hope felt like it was fading. And meanwhile, Kody paced outside like a man being crushed from the inside out, gripping his head and muttering that he should have seen this coming, blaming the economy, blaming the government, blaming the ex-wives, and even blaming himself, because deep down he knew the financial spiral didn't just happen. It was the result of years of decisions he made out of pride, impulse, and a desperate need to maintain the illusion of control even when his family was falling apart around him, and now he had to face the truth that he no longer had the manpower, money, or emotional strength to fulfill the dream he insisted everyone sacrifice for. And when he finally walked back into the house, he found Robyn still crying, her face red and blotchy, her voice hoarse as she asked him why he didn't tell her sooner, why he kept pretending everything was fine when he knew the truth. And that simple question sent Kody spiraling again, because pretending things were fine had become his coping mechanism, a shield he used to avoid confronting how badly things had gotten. And now that the truth was out in the open, he felt naked and exposed, knowing he had let her down, knowing he had let all of them down, even the wives who left him. And when he tried to explain himself, he only made things worse by admitting he felt ashamed, that he couldn't bear to tell her the reality, because he knew she would break down exactly like this. And hearing that made Robyn cry harder, because she couldn't understand why he would shoulder everything alone when she had devoted her entire life to being his partner, his emotional anchor, the one wife who never abandoned him. Yet he still didn't trust her with the truth until it was too late, and as she cried, her voice shaky, she told him she didn't know who they were anymore, that she felt like he was slowly slipping away from her just like he slipped away from the other wives. And the moment those words hit him, Kody froze, because he knew she was right. He wasn't the man he used to be. He wasn't the passionate patriarch who once carried a dream on his shoulders and convinced 4 women to build a life together. And he wasn't the confident husband who believed he could keep everyone connected through faith and sheer determination. Instead, he was a man stripped down to his failures, questioning whether he could even hold onto one marriage, much less a dream as big as Coyote Pass. And as they sat in painful silence, the tension thick enough to choke on, Robyn finally whispered that she felt like everything was falling apart, that she didn't know how to hold the family together anymore, and that she feared the land was just the beginning of everything else Kody was preparing to let go of. And that terrified her more than anything, because she knew how deeply Kody loved the idea of that property, how much pride he took in imagining it, planning it, defending it, even fighting with the wives over it. And if he was willing to walk away from something that meant that much to him, what was he not willing to walk away from? And according to those close to the family, that comment hit Kody like a punch, because it forced him to confront the truth he'd been avoiding. He no longer felt like the leader of anything, not of a family, not of a marriage, not of a future. And when he tried to reassure her, his voice cracked, revealing how scared he was too, scared of failure, scared of being alone, scared of disappointing the only wife he had left. And as they sat there staring at each other, their eyes swollen from crying, their hands shaking, the years of pressure, resentment, promises, and heartbreak felt like they were crushing them both. And sources say Robyn eventually stood up, wiped her tears, and walked away to gather herself, leaving Kody alone at the table, staring at the printed maps of Coyote Pass that he had once proudly displayed as the blueprint of their future, but now looked more like reminders of everything he couldn't achieve. And as he traced his fingers over the lines dividing the lots, lines that had once represented unity and fairness, he realized how symbolic it was that the wives who fought hardest over those lines were now gone, leaving him holding a dream that no longer made sense. And while he sat there, overwhelmed, Robyn collapsed on the couch in the next room, clutching a blanket to her chest, shaking with silent sobs as she asked herself how she went from being hopeful and excited about their future to feeling like she was trapped in a life filled with broken promises and emotional instability. And the heartbreaking part is that despite everything, she still loves Kody with a fierce loyalty that sometimes blinds her to his flaws. But now she is beginning to question whether that loyalty has cost her more than she ever realized, and whether the life she envisioned will ever come to pass. And insiders say that later that night, long after the children were asleep, long after the house had fallen silent, Kody and Robyn finally talked again, not with anger, but with exhaustion, trying to piece together what comes next. And during that conversation, Kody admitted he didn't know how to fix everything, that he didn't know if selling part of the land would help or just make things worse. And for the first time, he admitted he was afraid that even if they built a home on Coyote Pass, It wouldn't feel like the dream they once imagined, because the family it was meant for no longer exists. And hearing that broke something inside Robyn, because she realized he wasn't just giving up on the land. He was giving up on the idea that the family could ever be reunited, and although she knew deep down that the ex-wives were never coming back, hearing Kody say it out loud made it real in a way she wasn't prepared for, and she cried again, but this time the tears were softer, more resigned, as if she were grieving not just the land but the family that once made her feel like she belonged. And as the night dragged on, the two of them sat in the dim light of their living room, clinging to each other because for all their flaws and failures, all they really have left is each other, and even that feels fragile now. And whether this moment becomes the breaking point or the turning point remains to be seen, but one thing is certain. The unexpected Coyote Pass news didn't just shatter a dream. It shattered the illusion that anything in their world is stable, leaving both Kody and Robyn standing on emotional ground that feels shakier than ever before.